Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. This is the course on dark web, anonymity, and cybersecurity. I welcome back to one more lovely, beautiful, and extremely useful content. The course is all about making use of dark web and being anonymous at the same time. And at the end we'll learn what are the different steps of making use of cybersecurity, the best practices to be in a private mode while accessing the public content. All right, so we'll first start with the what are the risks involved when you are accessing the course. Not really the course that we are doing at this moment, but accessing some of the contents that you feel very private, or maybe you are in a business where free speech is cut, where free speeches is really important, where your activity belongs to press. All right, so this is where having the power of being anonymous is very important, and that's where we'll learn more about making use of dark web to access not really to access, but to see what are the different contents available. Is it good? Is it bad? And for sure it's gonna be bad for 90% or 95% of the time, but it is important to look at it, what all it is. At the same time, we'll also see if you are even making use of your public web, the freely available web, what are the different steps of being into private mode or anonymous, so that whatever activity you're doing, you still be safe. All right, so let's get started. The first thing that we'll learn is the introduction of this course, and over here we'll learn about different risks involved with it. So if you are an user, as I told you, in the business of those free speech or press related stuff, or maybe you have some content which can be very sensitive to some party out there, right? So in that case, it is very important for you. But before we do that, we need to understand where the risk really resides. All right, the first thing is your hardware itself, your system, your laptop, your desktop, mobile phone, anything. All right, so anything related to your hardware system from which you're accessing to the rest of the world, that's where the risk resides as well. You might be having your data, but that doesn't get erased, wiped out whenever you make use of it. That becomes a risk for you, because that's where the persistence or the part of data really resides. Even if you're making use of encryption technology, there are software, there are agencies out there who can grab those information if they want it. All right, next is the operating system. Now understand this, operating system help you to make use of all your application, and that runs on your hardware, right? Maybe you talk about Windows, maybe you talk about your Mac OS, you have Ubuntu or Arch Linux, anything, even Kali as well. This all are operating system, and now if these can store the information, because we never know this, the open source information, it's good enough, but at the same time, Windows or Mac OS, these are third party. These are the private organization, and we don't have any control about it, right? So the next thing is the browsers. So understand this way, whatever you do in the public network, you can either do it maybe email conversation or maybe on the browser itself. And browser is something which made all the activity available without installing any agents, right? So we are in a situation, we are in the period, in era where everything has gone into the application, starting from your email conversation to chats to even to your net banking information, or maybe you're browsing to any after, everything can be tracked. Everything goes to the other party, goes to the any other corner of the world through the gateway, and this gateway passes or send the mirror of the traffic to the national agencies to have a proper surveillance to all their citizens for any purpose, to influence or to have a proper monitoring to their activity, all those stuff, right? and that's where the risk really resides, right? And then it comes to the email that you make use of, maybe Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo Mail. All these are made for the purpose of productivity, for giving you a useful platform to send an email, but this doesn't provide any sort of private or anonymity, right? Because this is where if you send an email, it goes to their server, and from there it can be fetched to multiple other client, or maybe it can be sent to the receiver as well. So there's no sort of anonymity, no sort of private or making it anonymous as well. The next thing is your Wi-Fi. Now this is, of course, it sounds really crazy, but yes, it is, because if you have, I'm not sure if you have looked at my earlier other ethical hacking content courses, you will find if somebody get the access to your wireless network, it can actually get to see what all you do, right? With the help of man in the middle attack, they can get to see what all you're doing in your browser, or from your, what all communication going out of your laptop or from your network can be seen, or can be spied as well. Somebody can see that personally. All right. Now at the end, I know it sounds some very, very different stuff, but yes, of course, credit card information. How exactly? That's a great question. To answer this, when somebody share their information as a part of credit card, or maybe any other information like social SSN or any other information, anybody can locate them, right? Because even if you're buying something and you're sharing information like your credit card, people can track, okay, who was the one who bought this information, because that's where your name, address, and all this information has to be filled up, and it can be tracked as well. Now, it is important to understand how these all risks can be covered at the end, right? And that's what we are talking about while being anonymous, being into achieving the privacy as well. So this is all about it. Now let's talk about how to secure, how to reduce the risk on every layer. So we talk about risk at the hardware, operating system, browser, email. All right. So we'll talk about each one of them one by one. So let's first talk about the operating system, and this is where you can make use of TeleOS. What's so special about it? Unlike any operating system which has to be binded with your hardware, I mean, of course, the MacBook, your Mac OS can only run on the Apple, of course, but for rest of the hardware like HP, Dell, Windows can be installed, or any other operating system can be installed. But remember this, the data still resides with it. Once you install any operating system, the data resides with it, and your operating system can bind those information, can store those information. And when you make use of TeleOS, it is built to make it non-persistent. So you can make use of a USB drive. I'll show you in the later courses, where you can have a bootable pen drive with TeleOS, and this TeleOS you can, once you insert on any of the laptop, it's just good to go. You can do your work, and once you remove it, it wipe out all the information, all your activity that you have done on this. So that's useful. All right. Next, it's Tor browser. We have talked about the risk related to your browsing activity. Broad browser is something we'll be making use of it when we try to access or try to see what all stuff are there on the dark web, right? And this is, we are going to learn and we'll see for the educational purpose. Why I say that? Because this is something which is very, very important. Dark web is something which is mostly used for the bad activity, and for the educational purpose we wanted to see what all are there in the dark web, so that we can educate others how to make yourself secure and not to go on any dark web site, dark web or dark net, just for sake of exploring it, and how to be safe enough before you do any activity over there. All right. So now next, hotspot Wi-Fi. Make use of your hotspot Wi-Fi whenever you go, wherever you travel. Don't make use of any public Wi-Fi activity. And of course, I'm talking about some best practices in the same stuff itself. Of course, OpenPGP, and this is something which is very important. This is a very old technology, but this still works, because this is where no provider really comes in. You send an email, you get encrypt, you encrypt those email content. Other party, if he has the key, then only he can decrypt it and can see what is there inside. All right, now this is all about making your email secure enough, or safe enough, private enough. Bitcoin, I know all of you know Bitcoin, right? But we are talking about it not for making money out of it, not to have appreciation or valuation, all those stuff. But what I'm talking about is, if you really want to make yourself anonymous on anywhere in the world, in spite of using your credit card information, make use of Bitcoin, because that's where your personal information never gets shared. All right. Now, burner or personal laptop, if you remember, I talked about the risk related to your hardware. And this is where you can avoid that by making use of any of the non-personal or burner laptop. All right. Never, ever share your personal information with anybody, right? Because this is where, even if you tried everything, you try to reduce the risk on everywhere. If you share your personal information, there's no way to go, right? Because you never know where it exactly going around, right? And how it can be used. Now, what I'm really talking about at the end is, whatever we are going to learn, this is all on the personal, for the educational purpose. So make sure you never do any illegal activity on dark web. This is my highly personal advice. And because this is something where if you do that and if you get engaged with it, you can get tracked as well. So this is where you have to avoid doing that as well. And this is all covers the introduction to dark web courses, dark web anonymity and cybersecurity course. Now we have learned about what are the risks available and how to mitigate those risks. We'll learn each of these points in detail throughout this course, and some of the more advanced topics as well throughout this course too. All right, so till then, I hope you like this lecture. We'll catch you in the next one. Thank you.